welcome, sisters. Welcome to our program On Target. Our brothers and sisters in CARICOM and in the diaspora, we welcome you to our program. And you're well aware, as soon as we start this program, you're free to participate, to contribute. We highly appreciate your participation. You just sit down, pick up the telephone and call 442-0175. We're having some challenges with one of our 91.9, but you could get us on 91.5 and on YouTube. We Noise FM 94.9. Give us a call. Ask a question. Make your suggestions. Make your statements. We firmly believe that we can make a fundamental change in our country. We could do different. We could improve things. It doesn't matter what area. We have to believe as a people that we have the answers. One person may not have the answers. But if we discuss the issue, we could come up with solutions to solve our problems. We have to stop believing that people outside of Grenada have the answers. No. They may make more problem for us. We have the answers here. It makes no sense taking unilateral action. Discuss the issue. That's one of the challenges. That is one of the strong criticism we have against this government. They're not sharing information. They're not sharing information. When you ask questions, you get the personal attacks from them. It is better to share information, provide information for the public in a readily and available manner. The government policy is information based upon need to know. And you hear they're making some plans. Yesterday, we was on the issue of government want to build a new hospital. And we expressed our views that it was not justified. And we made suggestion to address the health issue by the next 10 years. Between now and the next 10 years, we could seriously improve the medical service, medical personnel, medical supplies, and strengthen the polytechnics and develop one in St. John, St. Patrick's, and St. Andrews. We can expand the hospital in Maribo, and we will have less congestion, less routine work in St. George's, and we can bring in more export, more professional in St. George's. A new building, we say, is like an albatross around our neck, like a millstone around your neck. And it could cost well over $500 million. Today, we are addressing the issue. The Prime Minister of Grenada wants to build a new prison. What is the justification? The Prime Minister decided not to discuss the issue. They run with a little mantra, and is that an arrogant, disrespectful, and incompetent mantra, and is that. So he wants to build a new prison. We saw him declaring that he passing draconian laws, unnecessary laws, unnecessary harsh laws. There is no need for that. We are a small country. Yes, we have a rise in crime, but we could seriously reduce the crime rate in the country. It is not necessary to build a new prison. The physical structure of the prison is strong. Not an emergency. It's not important for the short term nor the medium term. And at this time, government is only squandering the sacrifices that we have made over the years to strengthen our liquidity Government is squandering it. They want to build a new prison. It is not justified. It is not necessary. And it doesn't seem to have any intention in engaging discussion on the matter. We as a people have to recognize this government seems to hell-bent on putting a burden on our children's future. If they continue in that trajectory, they will bankrupt this country. The economy would again be in free fall. And we would be on our knees begging for help. Now is the time that people should open their mouth and discuss the issues and demand answer. What is the justification for a new prison? By what percentage increase you expect the occupancy in the prison to grow? What are you doing to reduce crimes in our country? From my opinion, the crimes in Grenada are not premeditated. The majority of the crimes are not premeditated crimes. They are not gang-related crimes. Our crimes is not as a result of ethnicity. So there doesn't seem to have any direct permanency in the crime. We could address the crimes to reduce the number of crimes significantly. You'll always have crime. But we can seriously reduce the number of crimes that we have in the country. That will be much cheaper than trying to build a new hospital, a new prison. Why you want a new prison? I believe there are a number of institutions in this country. We should hear their voice. For instance, the legal fraternity, the lawyers in our country. Even if they don't speak as individual lawyers, they have an association. They have the Bar Association. It's one of the oldest associations in the country. They are the best legal minds in the country. They are at the crossroad where we have the consequences of crime. They are the crossroads that they deal with it on a daily basis. So we should hear their voice. Is it justified in Grenada to build a new prison? No. In the short term or the medium term, is it justified? Our legal fraternity should act as a think tank that comes up with suggestions to reduce the incidence of crime. Most of our crime is spontaneous, domestic crime, crimes of passion, crime as a result of consumption of substances. Coke. Number of young men end up stealing as a result of coke. They develop the habit, they get addicted, and they don't have the income to maintain the habit. And as such, they need to maintain the habit, so they steal. You have crimes as a result of excessive consumption of alcohol. And you have some crimes, some social issues. So we should be addressing how we reduce crime. Because as I said, Our crimes are not as a result of ethnicity. It is not much of premeditated crimes. So it is easier to address the crimes and reduce the number of crimes in a small country. And I believe the Bar Association, very disappointed in the bar, not the lawyers. Individual lawyers may have their own contributions they make to the country. But as an organization that commands and demands respect in our society, I have not heard them do anything for charity. I've not said they didn't do. I've just not heard anything they do that is worthy of mention. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yes, good morning to you, Doc. How are you today?
Great, man.
All right, have a great day. I'll tell you something, another one again, but this time it come home. So my talk is falling on deaf ears with the young people. That young man who took his life or took it is my nephew,
Okay.
my grandnephew. Promising young man. He used to be working as an understood custom, but I knew him in the Ministry of Finance. Very talented young man. And I don't know what to say again, because I know definitely two factors that is causing this thing. We have a leadership crisis, leadership problem, and we have an economic problem. Yeah? And until we address these two things, this situation will continue to happen. And we are losing the young people because, in my usual way, said before, we have damaged the young people. And I've been saying this consistently for quite some time. And I think it is coming home to some people understanding us now. We have damaged the society. And the politics is one of the things. And as I said, the economics is another. We have to concentrate on growing the economy. Yes, I'm hearing a lot of talk on now oil is in the mix. But while we're going to focus on oil, that's going to take so much years. We're not concentrating on other parts of the economy, growing other parts of the economy to offset the problem that will come before we start bringing up the oil. So once again, I want to implore on our leaders, from the school to the business people to the political directed. They and you are responsible for taking care of the population, especially the youth. And I want to ask again, please focus on building, growing the economy, creating new ways, new places for the expansion of business. Maybe we'll have to reduce the taxes across the board, right? And the business people, jointly with the government, will have to seek out economic people overseas, people who have the money overseas and who wants to come back, because I'm hearing that some of them want to come back. But where is the place? Where are you going to place them? There's a lot of empty spaces, but we don't have the amenities. And so we have to concentrate on those things if we want to save the youth, because the youth is more than crisis now. More than crisis. And don't blame it on parents, because parents is also in crisis. The economics is the biggest problem. People doesn't have the means to take care of themselves. And I'm saying it too regular, but I want to implore on the business people and the political directorate, please pay particular attention to the growth of the economy, starting with infrastructure to create space for newcomers, so you can put the young people to work. Whilst a man may want to go plant some corn or grow some corn or buy some corn and go by the roadside, I have no problem with that. But I say you have to make space for the people you educate. And this is a brilliant young man. Yes, he do corn roasting on the roadside in his spare time. But should he be doing that with the talent he have, the capacity he have? You know? And I'm saying we have to look at those things. We can't be doing those young people these things. We have to focus on them. I'm emotional because, you see, I don't know if it was my son who I would deal with that, because certain things have run through my brain. If I cannot control, I couldn't control myself, these things will get to me. I'm talking too much about the same thing, pointing out what is happening to the young people. And it seems that nobody's taking it and just following. You are trying your best there, but it seems that those people that they just don't care. We are leaving the young people here. We can't do them this thing. Have a great day, sir.
Yes, scholar, it's always touching. A lot of emotion comes around when these issues come about. And we always concerned about young people, and the government of the day and the leadership should be concerned too. And we do not believe the answer is building bigger prison. That's a lazy way to address the issue. We believe we can seriously cut down on crime. And we always speak about education. And if 70% of the children that exit school do not have the talents, the skill, the wherewithal to find a job, then they're going to have challenges. And today in our society is even harder. In yesteryear, you were finding a lot of men doing security. Now the women are doing security. And I ask the question, who is remaining home with the child or the children? I see a number of young women doing security that have children or have a child. Who is staying home with the child? You have children in secondary school. The mothers have to be doing security in the night. The question one might ask, who is with these children? Encourage them to go to the book. Encourage them to go and sleep. Cut off the phone now and the television and go and sleep. Who is home with them? I know that does not bother much people, because you may well find the people in the top echelons of society, their children don't have to go and do the work. Even though they have children, they could find a job with the parents or in areas that is not as stressful. And you find the young males have difficulty to get a job, even in security, because they may require a police record. Some of them require to buy a cell phone, to fill up a form. All these factors could contribute to they not worrying. So the woman goes and does security. But in some instances, the man does stay home with the children. That is a new challenge we start having in the society. The security companies seems that they prefer to employ women. One guy in security tell me women are easier to work with. He said they're easier to work with. So most of the security firms full of women working. The men outside. And it poses new challenges. Challenges of economics. Who has the money? It's easier for the ladies to get jobs. But they have children. And it must be very traumatizing on them. After a woman work all night, she come home and she's expected to make contribution for her children. And sometimes the home turn a battleground. Government have a responsibility to try to make jobs, to create jobs, to give people a second chance. Very, very important. Because the school is unproductive. When I say that, I get the wrath of the teachers in Grenada. And some teachers say you always criticizing teachers. Why don't you criticize the parents? It's the parents' responsibility. And I ask them, who teach the parents? Sometimes they say, go to the politician and criticize them. And I ask, who teach the politicians? I believe that a group of people that is responsible to take the initiative and make the change in Grenada are our teachers. You are more certificated today than any other time in our history. You are better paid than any other time in your history. The structures you work with and in is better than any other time. You have the necessary gadgets, the telephone, the computer, and other aid to help you. So you need to do a better job. You need to shed a tear for the low level of productivity in school. And while I concentrate on Grenada, because I believe if Grenada make the change, the tumbling effect would take place. But in the rest of the Caribbean, things bad too. In Jamaica, there are a number of areas where the police have them under state of emergency. Emergency powers is given to the police. And Jamaica perhaps is one of the most violent places in the world. We're not talking about the place where war fighting now. Gaza and Ukraine and other countries that are in battle war. But we need to recognize this. We have to stop turning the coin. Every time it comes to us, we say it's not us. We postponing the responsibility. If 70% of the children functioning in school fails to meet the minimum requirement, then who teaching them? You're responsible. Don't tell me about the parents. You taught the parents. And don't tell me about the politician. You taught the politician. So we need to do better. And to compound insult to injury, you have a prime minister that is not a good example. He doesn't set a good example for young people at all. Why do I say that? The prime minister unjustifiably introduced restorative justice, set up a ministry of MIT. I've been calling for that ministry to be disbanded from day one. This ministry has been set up to implement the government vengeance and political victimization program for no other reason. For no other reason than to implement government program of vengeance and political victimization. You ought not to do that. That's a small country. You're going to mar the very fabric of the society. The government of the day is inciting violence. Then you're going to have the spin-off on the ground, the rippling effect on the ground. When you start to incite violence, it's going to filter down. And it won't be political violence alone. You have other social and economic violence taking place. So we have to, as a people, we have to recognize the government is not on the correct path. But we could start to take initiative to direct the path that our children in. Children going in school have to be in some group. Music should be taught in primary school. Every child should be encouraged to play 2 musical instruments. Communities should set up swim groups, particularly those communities along the coastline. But some rivers could be converted to swimways. In that way, people can have ponds. You convert the river into a swimway. And people can go there and learn to swim. We have to do more. Sports is an important thing in our society. That is all the different methods you could use to help to reduce violence in our country. The incident of violence. The Prime Minister of Grenada have to make a change. He's telling too much lies. And he's inciting violence. And he's calling on the NDC members to make sure they identify who is yellow. That is not acceptable. The election is over. You have time to politic, but you cannot continue to fracture and divide our people. You shouldn't continue. Because you will also be continuing to a poor performing institutions and organizations. Somebody had to tell the Prime Minister that. Maybe the Prime Minister is so wrapped up with bitterness and anger and hate that he can't see. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, good day.
Yes, my brother.
You know, I was talking to a top builder. Back in the days, he used to have 3 and 4 houses building, and he had a whole team of workers. And today he tell me, you see how thing nice in construction? So I say, well, tell me how nice it is. Because you reduce from building 3 and 4 houses for a year into doing a culvert and a drain for the government. But you're saying that things are so good. Back in the days, you're doing 3 and 4 houses, you have a team of workers, you're running from project to project. And you resort to doing a piece of road and a drain. And you understand? But you're still saying that things are so good. So some of the guys who champion this cause of things are so good and you have so much work in the country. You have to look back into their past and see what they used to do and how good they had it back in the days. And now they only champion that song because why? They so embarrassed with the whole how things have turned out for them. Because back in the days, and you hear them say that they can't find workers. But back in the days, you had so much work, and then people could have found workers. But now all of a sudden, they can't find workers because why? They're looking for their people alone. So that's why they can't find workers because they can't find enough NDC to do the work. You understand? That's the whole game there. You know? When they say they can't find workers, you know? They're not saying they can't find trade men, they can't find NDC trade men. You understand? That's the whole thing there. Have a nice day, bro.
Yes, sometimes when party supporters, militant party supporters, may not tell you things not going good. Within closed door, they may concern, but they are defenders of the party. So I will ask the question, what areas you made new jobs? You see, sometimes you have to ask a question and then you see them struggling. What areas you made new jobs? Obviously, the only area where they have additional jobs is security. The security department. You have a lot of more individuals involved in the security. And a lot of more women working in security. But the government has not taken any initiative to create new jobs. The construction industry in Karakou is on because of the disaster, and you have some Grenadian technician up there working. But the government has not taken any action to increase productivity. And it's not only having a job, it's about increasing productivity. You will find some business places, they worry about new employees. They worry about new employees. And they have significantly reduced the number of their employees because they're not satisfied with the productivity level in the workplace. But you obviously expect them to try to defend. And it's hard to defend Deacon. Some of them definitely is embarrassed. It's very difficult to defend this government. This government seems to have no respect for the law where money management is concerned. So they're using the public purse. They're squandering public money. And they don't care. They definitely don't care. So, but we must discuss the issue. Another big scandalous project, again, is the prison. Government want to build a new prison. Government should be conducting exercises, discussing with people, encouraging the Bar Association to come up with a paper on how we could reduce crimes in our society. Because I know a lot of individuals deal with. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Yes, good afternoon once again.
Yeah.
Now, as you touched the area of prison, I remember having some engagement with a few ministers way back when they mentioned about building new prison. I asked them, okay, where are you going to find the money to build a prison? And if you build a prison, where are you going to find the people to put in it? And who are the people you're going to put in the prison? And it's going to be the young people. And then who would you ask to work? The old people are dying. Yeah? So it's not about prison. It's about crime prevention. Giving people occupation. Now let me give you information. That road leading down to the Malmont Bay that we spent some money, I spent some money there. I spent time with my group and myself. It's now, as I understand, I didn't go to look at it because of my condition. I understand now it's been upgraded to a full-fledged road up and down with street lights, solar lights, and I'm very, very happy about that. Very, very happy. We have a program that we want to do all the beaches on the East Coast, from Rookin right up to Crowshoe. So that is one of them. So I'm happy about that one. Bonge, which is the next day, we are now preparing this one, but I'm having problems. We want a machine to do certain hot work there, yeah? So we can actually streamline the work to get the road in the way that we want it to clean up the beach. And I'm having problems. My thing is upgrading the community as a means of growing the economy to put people to work. That is my objective. Is putting especially the young people to work. So when these things is happening and jobs are being created, I'm very, very happy. I want to be in a position. I want the support. I'm not looking for money. As I said to them, I don't want the money. My thing is to lay a foundation for the young people, for commerce. Because I know where this country is going. As I tell you, I had been talking long and working very well. For 16 years, I had been doing these things. I want the support. So when I ask a particular minister or the government for something technical, like a machine or binders, it is not for me. It is laying the foundation for the young people and for commerce. And so I want you to help me in that area.
Yes, sir.
When I appeal, I want this thing because I'm a busy person. I do like talk, and do it. I talk today, you support me tomorrow, and I go on. That's it. I'm a one-man developer, if you give me a chance, because I do it many, many times, over and over. I don't wait until my group to start. The come late, you meet me on the job. Yeah, and I'm the last person to leave the job site. So I want the response, I want the support from the authorities that what I want is machine, I want binders, because I have the people who are responding so we can prepare the economy to prevent what has happened to my nephew. And I'm talking St. David because St. David have the space. And I'm not making joke, I'm very serious.
Yeah.
Have a great day, sir.
Yes, well, yes, caller, welcome.
Yeah. So I enjoyed listening to that gentleman. I just spoke to you. And so I thought of it, there goes the Isle of Spice. There goes the Isle of Spice. And then you're going to tell me to plant coffee, plant cocoa, plant nutmeg. Who is looking after them? Where are we going to plant them? Are we going to plant them on the beach too? Which place we getting the monies to maintain? Mr. Pierre,
Yes.
we have a situation here where folks doesn't want to see the bush anymore. They doesn't want to see those trees growing anymore. We're gonna cut them down, like we cut down them those nutmegs sometime back there. We cut down the nutmegs and we whatever, you know. So no more can we brag about the Isle of Spice. You don't have that again. You won't send your children to work the spice. And you wouldn't want to watch me coming from the land doing nutmeg or cocoa. You don't want to look at me at all. My class is too much far underneath you. And in fact, for me and my children will tell me, wife might even say too, you're not working for enough money. So when our Prime Minister in Montreal, he looked down the hill, and those type of houses that he seen down there, that don't have class for me. So he can't stay in those areas. So if he will want to say that, my children will want to tell me the same thing. Till children told her the same thing. We cannot have the two of them at the same time. We must know where we're going, and we must learn to support those that are in the land. If we want to continue doing the Isle of Spice, give us the monies to do it. Don't promise us. And because you see the color of the clothes that we have in, you tell us no. We can't get that. I went to see if I could get a little thing after the hurricane. I was encouraged by some of my friends to go. I went, and they tell me they can't find my name there. However, they took my telephone number and they told me to wait until they call me. So I'm waiting.
You're encouraged.
On you too, sir.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
I think one of the issues is to encourage our children to identify projects that they can make money from. They must have an income. We as a people have not been discussing investment with children. I ask the question repeatedly, sometimes without answer. At what age you would start to discuss investment and money management with your child? And maybe we should do that. I think it's the Jews that say every $5 you have, you must invest 3. You must save 1, and you must make charity with 1. So to make children know, some people have jobs and they're doing well, but they're not telling you. Some people want a job because of status. So an individual may prefer to work in a shop in St. George's than to work one in Grenville. A mechanic may be a good mechanic but very ill-disciplined. So he doesn't recognize, he don't know how much money he's making. In addition to that, he may need an assistant to help him keep his books, to make his telephone calls. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yeah, what kind of we have based on the money we spend on, well, not money the government spend, but money that the government gives to farmers after the hurricane to build back the garden?
No, the money was not for that. The government gave the farmers money for income support. They said the farmers lost income as a result of burial.
But there were some guys who maybe wasn't working land and they still get so.
Well, the government must give some people who want to have land.
Oh.
Because some people have land and apply, they don't give them because of politics.
But I know some farmers that didn't get.
Well, yes, a lot. If the principal government declared the money was income support, so you have lost income as a result of burial, and they're giving you some income support.
But I think you went on some kind of political line to begin. I know some farmers that.
Yeah, well, eventually the government strip it to. Well, didn't sell them look for yellow. Didn't say about the real NEC.
So how can you grow agriculture when you're thinking so?
Well, that's some of the challenge we have to face, and if it is so a policy of the government, almost every government and past have been accused for showing political preference. It is often denied by the leadership, but this leadership is established victimization and political vengeance as part of the policy.
Oh.
And that's the problem.
All right.
So it is more widespread, more glaring now than ever I could remember in the history of Grenada. Yes. So that is the challenge. We always accuse governments for political preference, but no government acknowledge that is a policy. But this government under Deaton is very vindictive. And these are the tangibles you see. Some things you wouldn't see is that somebody's child apply for a scholarship and they can't get through. Some young man apply to go in the police force, but because of his surname, they don't accept him. Some young person apply to go in teaching at the public service or to attend one of the training sessions, but based upon the policy of the government, they don't accept. And I remind people about during the revolution. During the revolution, there are some people, Maurice Bishop refused to give scholarship. He said these children, the parents is petty bourgeois. So he don't give them scholarship. And that those people solidly support the revolution. But Bishop refused to give the children scholarship. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, good day.
Yes, my brother.
Yeah. They had a discussion about oil and gas, but in the Chone speech recently, the Governor General said there is no oil and gas and they should doing so. There's some team to investigate that. So how come the Governor General never come back and say, well, she apologized because there is oil and gas? That wasn't the Chone speech.
The Prime Minister had to apologize. The Prime Minister, the Chone speech is written by the Prime Minister. The Governor General just read it.
But you see the Prime Minister does not apologize. So
but the Prime Minister is a compulsive liar.
So the Governor General should send it for the Governor General. Let the Governor General come and retract that statement.
Maybe in the next budget, he might say they get oil. Now the NDC has discovered oil. The government is lying. I mean, I take strong objection to a prime minister that becomes a compulsive liar.
To be a successful government, you must grow the economy. If you're not growing the economy, every budget cycle you got to go lend $100 million. So you must grow the economy in us, so you are less, you are only surplus, so you know you are less money to lend. So this government don't doing that. They on a rampage, paying 2020 greater taxpayers' money. Take him up there.
Yes, well, in Grenada here, the main sectors of the economy that brings in money is tourism. Perhaps tourism bringing more money than any others. Remuneration. That is our people away sending back money. St. George's University contribute about 20% of the GDP, St. George's University. Then we have the CBI program. I think they changed the name to IMM, but I'll continue saying CBI because that is what the government don't want. They don't want people to realize it's the same CBI program. That contributed significantly, and agriculture to a lesser extent. So when you look around and you don't see any effort government make to improve or to increase productivity in this area, you worry. The IMF warned them that the CBI program that they're getting money from now is very fragile. And the tourist market is very fragile. So you have a government that not certain about the ideology. No one time they maybe want to ride on Maurice Bishop positives. So the yard fowl, and Maurice Bishop used to say mother hen and yard fowl. And another time they playing capitalists. It's difficult to determine the ideological philosophy of the government. But definitely the government is not doing anything significantly to grow the economy, and that is a very worrying factor in Grenada. In addition to not growing the economy, the government suspended debt payments. And I always say it was absolutely unnecessary. The hurricane had just damaged about 16% of the GDP, and the government received $114 million 14 days after the hurricane. So there was absolutely no need to suspend debt payment. So, it's a challenge. You have a government that's not growing the economy, they're not paying debt, and they flaunt the law with impunity. The legislation have been put in place for self-discipline. The government abandoned self-discipline. They are reckless in spending, and we must be concerned. And while all that is going on, the government announced they're building a new prison. No justification for the prison. We should be doing everything, making a concerted effort to reduce crimes in the country. One of the factors of high crime rate is unemployment, underemployment. Because you could have people employed, but they're in a job that they don't even like. They just have to take what they get. They normally say, take what you get. The government have no program that we know of to give people a second chance. And why that is so necessary? Because of the high rate, the high percentage of children that exiting from school without the minimum requirement. They don't have the minimum requirement for the job market. They don't have the minimum requirement to enter university or institutions of higher learning. And the government don't have a program to address same. So that is a serious challenge in our country. While that all is going on, the government is hell-bent on being divisive, even worse. Why it is so divisive? So this is a challenge we have, and we hope people discuss these issues. Why do we need a new prison? Is the walls, is the structure of the prison compromised? It does not seem that the structure is compromised. The Prime Minister may be concerned about the age of the prison. The structure is not compromised. Maybe this prison needs more staff. Because you're going to spend millions of dollars to build a prison that it wasn't justified to build. And the challenge ought to be, how do we reduce the incidence of crime in our country? We could. We saw the Minister of Labor in a very defiant mood, cussing Babylon, cussing the police. In our region here, particularly in Jamaica, when you say Babylon, you refer to the police. So she was in a very militant mood, jumping up with her hand in the air, imaginarily shooting the police. So that is to tell you. And the level of disrespect that the Prime Minister is showing, and other ministers too, not he alone. Other ministers. It's the first time in my history I've met so much a disrespectful and arrogant group of people in our country. So we need to talk about it. We cannot say if we didn't know. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. If we could lobby those in authority and invite them to change, it is in our best interest. You don't want your children end up in a burdensome society. The actions the government taking is going to cause what you call brain drain in all the institutions. And look at what is going on in the United States of America. They say America first. And Canada say Canada first, second, and third. So they do this bond and this brotherhood of unity is under the mirror, under the microscope. So we in the Caribbean here ought to be more surgical, more directional, looking at ourselves and recognizing that we have to take the necessary action to address the challenges we have. So we want to encourage people. If you have any clout with Deacon, ask him to justify a new prison. Why you want a new prison? The walls of the prison are not compromised. The structure is not compromised. So obviously you could do the necessary repairs. And you can add additional room space to Princess Alice Hospital. There is no necessity, no need for you to build a new hospital. The hospitals need medical supplies. The hospital need medical service and medical personnel. That's what they need. And before this one could settle, so the Prime Minister is reckless, recklessly incompetent. And we should be aware of that. We should be aware because we have to be discussing the issue and recognizing our country that is under challenge. Grenada that is under challenge. If our young men do not find sources of employment, decent sources of employment, if our young man is not occupied, then they're more likely to get in trouble. That's why we see incidents of gambling. We see a lot of disrespect by young men, in particular, but including the women too. Perhaps we have to have voices encouraging the young men to even go to church. I was speaking to a group of men the last time, Young men, the cussing win. The cussing win. And I was saying to them that the boys who go to church, and I don't care what religion they go in, you don't hear this level of obscenities from them. I say, even if they're drinking, you would not see them consuming this level of alcohol. Generally, they agree with me because I dare them, I challenge them. When they look around, you're in the pub, you're in the bar, you're in the rub shop, and to hear the ruckus and the level of disrespect that goes on, it wonders you. So more must be done. In 2017, I think the police said most of the road accidents was as a result of ill discipline. Sorry, they didn't have a program specifically on that. When you identify what the challenges are, you make every effort to address same. And we have to do that in Grenada. You know, our country is small. I cannot over-repeat that for you. Grenada is small, a place where people will describe it as everybody know one another. You should not have this level of violence in a small country. Now you shouldn't have all the suicide too. People have to have a strong sense of character and something to hold on to, and don't participate if you believe that there is nothing to hold on to. We want to take this opportunity to thank you for participating in our program. We want to remind you we're back with you again next week between 12 and 1 for another part of On Target. We continue to provoke discussion. We want to provoke discussion. We want people to discuss the issues. We want people to develop a habit of discussing issues. Don't condemn people as soon as they say Deaton, you jump up in arms and you're ready to violently attack them or verbally attack them. That shows what the person saying is true and you cannot defend Deaton. So we don't want you to do that. We want to invite you to join us on Studio Galaxy on Saturday from about between 10 and 1 p.m. We have a special guest on the program. And we will ask a lot of questions. It's a political guest. A special political guest will be on our program, Studio Galaxy. And we have the extension tomorrow morning. And I will join Andre on the extension. These programs are good and it helps to provide information for you. It gives you an opportunity to ask questions and we provide answers for you. And we always promise to speak the truth. And we give you an opportunity if we say something that is not the truth to correct. In our democracy, remember, what we have here is not in Iran, not in Gaza, not in Russia, not in China. We have a freedom of speech that is the envy of a lot of countries. And we have seen the threats by some of the militants of the NDC advocating to shut down people's voice. We always have to express our solidarity with Simon Says. She has been under a lot of pressure. The ruling party, in collaboration with the police, we believe, has been intimidating and using drones. The Prime Minister has been daring and challenging. Social media bajan. When a Prime Minister starts to do these things, you have to be worried. It means that he is prepared to do worse. That's what he does publicly. So we always will have to chastise the Prime Minister for inciting violence and threatening people on social media. And we thank you again. And we're back with you on Monday between 12 and 1 for the On Target program.